Hello, gorgeous. Today we are speaking about shame around your sexuality and inviting in a new perspective around your sexuality to be more empowered and to start having sovereignty around your body and the decisions that you make in your life. There is so much shame around sexuality, and I really do believe that it's not spoken about enough. And that's why it's one of the first things that we dive into in my programs like Feminine Remembrance. Come home to yourself because of the shame around our sexuality. And when we have and hold shame around our sexuality, it really impacts the way that we feel and think about ourselves as well. We carry this shame and it is instilled within us, and we carry it within our wombs, within our yoni. When we carry shame around our sexuality, this manifests in ways that affects our self-worth and how we stand in our truth, or in the way that we know ourselves deeply. We also feel shame around our sexual expression. We feel shame in speaking our boundaries in and out of the bedroom. And so that's why this work and really speaking about it and diving into it is so important for us, especially as women. So in this video, I am going to speak about shame around our sexuality and how we can start walking this path of self-reclamation, self-leadership, and self-trust through coming into this healing and recognition of your sexuality as powerful and sacred. And if you don't know me, my name is Jessica Angeleri, and I guide women into reclaiming their power through their connection and developing a sacred relationship with their body, their yoni, their heart. And I love exploring sexuality and how we women are withholding from this power on an individual and a collective level as well. The thing that I wanted to mention about this idea of sexuality and sexual empowerment, just because we are sexual beings, it doesn't actually mean that we are feeling empowered. For myself, I was a very sexual woman in my earlier years. I still am. However, when I started to really dive into this work and dive into the work of somatics and embodiment, I noticed that, and I recognized that I wasn't actually very empowered. I was giving my power away as I was not knowing the sacredness of my own sexual power and this life-giving energy of it. I wasn't realizing my power in my body and the sensuality and how it was all connected. My sexuality was connected directly to my highest consciousness, to spirit, to the divine, to the goddess, whatever you like to call it. And I just wasn't aware that I could actually harness this power for bigger purposes, like creating my desires, creating my world, creating my days and my relationships. When I began to tune into these powerful sexual centers, so my womb, the yoni, the vagina, the lower centers, our pelvic region, this is when my whole life changed. My whole life really opened up in more beautiful ways. And even my sexual experience, even with my partner now, changed. I started to connect deeper with who I was and even how I was feeling in the moment. And that also meant there was a deeper exploration of what I truly wanted and needed and desired from myself and from my beloved as well. I started to tune into how I wanted to be held or how I wanted to be touched. I started to honor my boundaries because the relationship with my body and my yoni deepened. I began to unleash myself from the traumas and the triggers that I didn't even know I was holding on to. And so my energy began to shift from control and performance and perfection, and instead into softness and reverence and integrity as well. So it stopped being a matter of how can I please him. Instead, it became more about how can I connect deeply to my root, which is your pelvic region, your womb area. How can I connect with my own sexual power and the wisdom that lies within? And how can I see my sexuality as this beautiful connection with my own spirit self? How can I bless him with my love and this sexual energy that is clear and powerful? And this is when my whole life changed. And I really deeply want that for you and for every woman who comes into my spaces and my work. So my question for you is, how do you feel about your sexuality? Or are you holding shame around your sexuality? Do you see your sexuality as something to fear or as a way to please a man, to please someone? Or do you view it as something deeper, as a way to connect with your love and with your wisdom, your highest self? So, wherever you are in this journey, it is so welcome. Let me know in the comments, where are you right now? Are you curious about diving into this work? So, yes, there is a lot of shame around our sexuality and how we think and feel about it. And we carry this shame. And as I said, we carry it within our wombs. We carry this shame around our sexuality. And this can manifest in ways that does affect our self-worth and how we stand in our truth, how we walk into our relationships. As I mentioned, how we express ourselves. Our sexuality has been shamed to the point where we willingly give it up, or we have been taught to believe that sexuality is bad or that it is something dirty. And it's an idea that has been instilled within us for over centuries. And with that has meant that we've also disowned our very own power, our feminine power. So sexuality is put into this little tiny box, this category of sex, and sex that is based on performance. And there is this whole template around what sexuality should look like and how it should sound like. We have become so preoccupied with, am I pleasing enough? Do I look attractive enough? Is the way that I'm doing this, is it right? Is it wrong? Is it working? It is all in the service of achieving some end goal, an end result, which is not what sexuality really is about. Women's sexuality has been exploited, and we can see this everywhere. I'm seeing this as well more so, especially in social media, and how young women are really using their sexual bodies and their sexual expression as a way to gain attraction and popularity as well. And that in itself, we know unconsciously that that is a power. However, we do live in a very fortunate time where we are more liberated. I will admit that we're more liberated than ever, and I love that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to speak about this so openly right now, although there is still a lot of shame around it. I'm also grateful for the work of the feminists and the movement that gave us choice. It gave us liberation in the sense that we can enjoy ourselves and our pleasures and speak out. But I feel that we are in a different time again, and we need to start. There is still shame, and it's still very prominent in our lives and in our perspective around it, and how we view it and how we view other people, especially from woman to woman. And we need to change this. We can rise again and really reclaim our power when we see sexuality as sacred and as an energy exchange with our own spirit and the spirit of our own beloved. I mean, how beautiful is that? Your sexuality is a portal to experience the divine through love, a way to connect deeper with higher consciousness. It is the way that we create. It's the way that we know ourselves, and we can definitely have sex, yes, without emotion, but after a while, for us women, we might find ourselves becoming frustrated or overwhelmed by our own emotions, and we don't know why, because sex for us really is a divine connection with love, with spirit. It is this offering of our love, and our hearts are involved. They are involved because our Yoni is involved, and she must be open. And for her to fully open and feel relaxed, our hearts must be as well. So they work together. There's a dance between them. Your Yoni is where all life originates from, and it is the most receptive part of your body, your female body. And there's so much wisdom still yet to be claimed here. This is where our power is reclaimed. Our truth is remembered here. But as I always say, our Yoni has fallen asleep, and that's because most women have disconnected from her. And that's also because we're not experiencing pleasure that is available to us. So we're missing out on our own pleasurable experiences through the body. And you know what? Men are missing out on this power of ours as well, in this power of our deep love and surrender and our openness to Him. Now, I have done some videos about the Yoni and how to develop your relationship with her, so make sure you check them out. So there is a repression of our sexuality. We as a culture have polarized sexuality. On one hand, we are told to be sex positive and everything goes and it's all amazing, all sexuality and all is good in all forms. And we have increasingly overt expressions in what my opinion is a low level of sexuality. It's an expression that is still serving this old paradigm that we live in, and that it is only there to serve a man, whether we know this or not. And then on the other hand, there's a demon end of sexuality. We have this over attempt to control our bodies in general through different establishments as well, and even in the wellness world. There's a fear, a great fear around sexuality, and I believe there's a fear around it because of the power in it when a woman really wakes up to this. And then there's also this idea of free for all with sexuality, especially we see it a lot now in dating apps as well. So I feel like there's a lot of confusion around it. When we feel shame or around our sexuality, or we repress it, or we carry this distortion around it, we disconnect from the very essence of who we are. And when we repress or we overtly use our sexuality in ways that don't feel fully aligned to our highest self, you will know. Every woman knows. We know when it's not aligned. The unconscious part of this manifests as not knowing what our own desires and passions and arousals and sensations are. And because we might not know, we become more disconnected from our bodies. We might disown our needs, disown our pleasure as a necessity for a life of healing and aliveness and ecstatic intimacy. And this occurs because of the repression and the unawareness of our own self-worth. We have been taught to outsource our power and even our intuition and everything with our body. And so we just don't listen to ourselves. And that's, yes, how we give our power away. And we listen to everyone else, all the trends, all the shoulds, but ourselves. But when we really take back our power and we listen, we learn to listen to our intuitions through our heart, through our body, through our yoni, all of them together, you start to feel into spirit. You start to feel into your truth that is running through your body, and you make decisions for your body. You make decisions for your heart. And you also then let someone in from the place of sovereignty, someone into your body, into your space from that space of integrity. When you really are anchored in your worth and you stand true in that, you don't feel that you need to repress your sexual expression or even misuse it as a way for seeking love and approval. And you don't ignore your body and her needs. And your intuition becomes much louder. So it is so important for us women to really start acknowledging the feminine body, because when we are disconnected from her, we become disconnected from this life force energy, this sexual energy. And as I have been saying, we have been sold that our sexuality is somehow separate from ourselves. And in this way, it is no longer a part of us. So it's our responsibility to reclaim this power of ours. Sexuality is the most beautiful thing in the world that a woman can really experience. I mean, it's where life comes from. It's how life occurs. I think it's so important that we fall back in love with ourselves and really allow ourselves to enjoy our own body and pleasures and the pleasures of life in the most simple ways. And that happens when you start to let go of control, when you start to be really fully here in the present moment, when you fully connect with all of your senses. And this is also where sensuality comes into it, as the way we enjoy the pleasures of life. And that's going to look different for all of us. This is why healing our sexuality is more needed, or healing the shame around our sexuality is more needed than we think. And we cannot do all the mindset work unless we learn to connect with our sexuality from the place of reverence. And this is where sensuality plays a big, important role in this. So as I've been saying, your sexuality is the essence of life. It's what creates life. It's where we hold life, where our power lies. So it's time to reclaim our sexuality as sacred, as holy, as this beautiful expression of your spirit self. And then when you do, you become this beautiful queen of your own life. And you take your power back. You stop playing victim as well. So we have to start to redefine sexuality and see it as this gorgeous, magical juice of your life force energy. It's not just something you do, or not just something that you do to please yourself or to pleasure yourself in. It's everywhere. It's an impulse. It's a life force energy that governs the universe. It's how life is interacting and making love. And you carry this beautiful life force energy. It's in every single woman. And she can access this when she connects to her body and to her womb and to her yoni. And when she does, I believe that every woman would then just be unstoppable. We would remember our divinity. We would remember that we are enough. We are whole. We have the power to create anything that we choose to create. And we would remember what it really means to be a woman, re-educate ourselves in this, and to know that we have the power to choose. The sooner that we can look at our body, including our yoni and our womb, as this source for life, this connection to life, to nature, the sooner we reclaim our body for ourselves. And the sooner that as well we can listen to our intuition. This is where we begin to trust ourselves and our unique expression. And everything that I'm speaking about here today, about really healing the shame around your sexuality and reclaiming your body and your sexuality as your greatest power, this is everything that we do inside the 10-week immersion, Feminine Remembrance, Come Home to Yourself. It's a beautiful group container filled with embodiment and pleasure practices so you can start to reclaim and surrender to this greatest, highest essence of love. So, my love, to end this beautiful episode today, I would love for you to remember that in order for you to reclaim your sexuality, you need to come back and remember the truth, the woman that you truly are. Not in the eyes of society and social media, but in the eyes from your heart. We must start to see our sexuality and spirituality and our success all as one. They are all intertwined and linked with one another, for this is the powerful force that does reside in every woman, in all of life. The relationship that you have with your sexuality is a holy one. It's your relationship that you're having with the divine, with spirit within you and around you. This is what sexuality is. So let me know what lands with you. Start thinking about, how am I holding shame around my sexuality and therefore the way that I feel about my body, about my naked body, about the way that I express myself, the way that I know myself, the way that I honor my needs and my desires. You can also start this journey of really opening to this feeling of sensual aliveness and pleasure and joy and bliss in my 7-day free program, Erotic Feminine Embodiment. And it's filled with beautiful practices to start this journey of returning back to love and to sacred sexuality and the beautiful divine essence that you are. I will leave you there, beautiful one. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure to like this video. And if you are not already subscribed or following, make sure you subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. I'm forever grateful. My name is Jessica Angeleri, and I can't wait to see you again next week. All my love and passion and gratitude to you, gorgeous. Mwah. Bye.